Hello and welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and today I just wanted to give everybody a tour of my studio pedal board and my setup out here. I am preparing to record next year. I'm going to work on a full length. I may get it done by the end of the year next year. I may not, but I am going to break ground on it. But I have been really focused since my last album dropped earlier this year on kind of getting my pedal board together in a way that I'm completely pleased with it. So I want to go through what I have on my board and why I think it's probably the best setup that I've had so far in this space. So I'm super excited. I'll be playing my custom built hollow body guitar that I made from scratch. Been featured a number of times on the channel. So anyway, this is the guitar I'm going to be using. In the neck position, I have it set as single coil with a coil tap on it, and then in the bridge position it will be a humbucker. That way we can kind of explore the gain stages of my setup, and you can hear them in kind of a single coil mode and in a humbucker mode. So anyway, I'll have a picture up of the board and little detail shots of what I have engaged while I'm playing. To start off with, at the beginning of my signal chain, I have just a simple volume pedal. This is a old wah pedal that I converted to just being a volume pedal so that I can do volume swells and things like that. Next up is a TU2 Boss tuner. Got to stay in tune. So anyway, and that stuff I don't need to demonstrate because it's very self-explanatory. All right, so the first pedal I have is my BBE Varicomp compressor. Let's go ahead and listen to my clean tone here. All right, let's put the compressor on. Go ahead and click that back off. And so basically all I use that for is like if I was going to be doing some like, here's with it off, you know. And then I turn it on for like little finger picking things so that I get more evenness of volume. Like that. So nothing too crazy there. I won't be popping that back on. So I have a compressor there as kind of the first official thing in my signal chain. Coming up next, I'll play just a little chord progression, and then I'll engage my BBE Boosta Grande. It's my favorite kind of transparent clean boost. I like it because it doesn't boost treble. It seems to have a very flat EQ response in comparison to a lot of other boosts that I've used. So anyway, I'll just run some cowboy chords and then we'll listen to it with it on. For clean tones, I usually always have the Boosta Grande on. This is with it on. And I like that because it just is a sweetener pedal. I like the EQ boost that it has. It seems to be very flat, but it's kind of mid-range present. I really like that, and I like the fact it's not just a lot of treble. I should also mention up front, I am playing through my high watt 50 Crunch. This is my main amp in the studio. It's a solid state amp. There's a freestanding video all about it, which I'll link below. But yes, I'm just using this amp. We will be going through the dirt and the clean channels, but most of this will be through the clean channel with just a splash of reverb. My reverb is on a foot switch here, and the reverb is on the right side of the foot switch. The dirt channel is on the left. So anyway, we'll go ahead, click off my boost, go back to our clean tone. Now, the next thing I want to hit is the dirt channel on the high watt Crunch. I have set kind of like a DS1. So when I go over to it and engage it, we've got this. And that would be on my neck pickup. Let's go ahead and listen to it with a humbucker going. And as you can tell right away, you're getting into, like, you know, if I wanted to go ahead and keep it on the humbucker on that channel, you know, it's great for, like, you know, punky kind of stuff, you know, like. So that's what I use that for. I use it kind of like my old school distortion sound that I used to use back in the day a lot more than I do now. I'm going to go ahead and pop it back up to the neck pickup. And now I don't have anything engaged, but I'm going to engage the rat pedal I recently featured on the channel that I modded. I keep it on the no clipping diode setting at all times. So if you've watched the rat mod video, basically I have a diode switch, I have stock, I have LEDs, and I have nothing. I keep it on the nothing setting, and here's what it sounds like on a single coil. All right, now we'll go to the humbucker. And what I like about this setting, especially on the neck pickup, is that it still has a lot of clarity, you know? So I'm on my single coil mode with the rat, and then I can add my boost pedal in. And that just gives it a little bit more dirt, but without going crazy. Now we'll go to humbucker with the boost and the rat on. So between just those settings right there, so I've got my rat, I've got my boost pedal, so I can have the rat on its own, I can have the boost pedal feeding into the rat, or I can do the channel switch and go to my DS1 type setting, just using the channel on the amp. So right there I have a good variety of overdrive sounds. If I was playing a Stratocaster, Tele, or just a standard Les Paul, I would have a big palette to play with, just switching a guitar and just using those simple settings. The whole thing about this pedal board that I've tried to set up is I want a ton of versatility, but I also want it to be relatively simple. Now, I've made a video a long time ago about how I quit using fuzz. Well, that's not entirely true. I do use the DOD Carcosa Fuzz. I'll engage that here in a second. I like it because of its flexibility. It has so many parameters that you can tweak so that you can get exactly what you want out of it. You can set it up to sound like a fuzz face, a big muff, just about any fuzz pedal out there. This pedal can mimic. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and engage that. We'll go in single coil mode first. And I use that a lot for leads to get lots and lots of sustain, just to keep those notes going. I went ahead and switched down to my humbucker. We'll listen to the Carcosa Fuzz there. And you can hear all that sustain on tap right there. And I use it on a fairly mild setting, you know, as far as a fuzz pedal is concerned. So that's my gain staging right there. I've got a compressor to smooth things out. I've got the Boosta Grande going into the rat, going into a Carcosa Fuzz, and then of course I have my channel switch to go to the dirty channel on the High Watt Crunch 50. All right, for the rest of the demonstration, I'm just going to keep it on the Rat, and I'll probably just work in single coil mode here. Or actually, I'll leave it on humbucker, because I think that that treble cut might be good. And we're going to enter into my modulation section. All right, nothing too crazy here. I have a Boss CE3 chorus. It's the infamous chorus that has the LED in the wrong place, so it's hard to see. But anyway, this is what the Rat through the chorus pedal sounds like. And I keep that with the rate relatively low and the depth up relatively high. I'm just looking for a little shimmer from my chorus. Next up on the modulation front, I have the Soul Vibe by BBE. As you notice, I have a lot of BBE pedals. I think they're slept on. The Soul Vibe is a very cool pedal. It's a rotary simulator. I'm not sure if it does exactly that perfectly, but I like the sounds that it has. Let's take a listen. And I've got the intensity up and the sweep pretty low. So you get a nice modulation in there. I like it for lead work as well. So it's a great character pedal. I like to use that for background rhythm guitars and sometimes just for some color on leads. All right, moving along, another pedal featured on the channel is my beloved EVH MXR flanger. So I usually keep it in the EVH setting, so it's something like this. Just a classic kind of jet plane flange. And then if we pop it off the EVH setting, I kind of keep it in a weird setting, one of mine that I like. So those are the two basic sounds that I use my flanger for. I really like that, you know, kind of, I love my personal setting, but I also love having the jet plane just on the fly. Super easy. All right. Once again, we're still just using the humbucker on this, the bridge pickup setting through the Rat. All right. Next up is my phaser. This is the classic PH2, another Boss pedal, and we'll just take a quick listen to that. And I just love that type of phaser sound. I've tried all kinds of different phasers. I always come back to the PH2. It's a classic. I've had that pedal for like 27 years, and it's just never left the board, really. I try to kick it off with other things, and it just never happens. All right, let's get into some time-based effects. I only have two on the board. I have an MXR Carbon Copy. Just take a quick listen to that. And that is the setting I usually keep it on. And I just love the carbon copy. I think that as far as, you know, a current production model delay that's all analog, you cannot do better than the carbon copy at the price point. I don't use the modulation or anything, and I pretty much keep it around that area as far as the time delays. And then last but not least in my signal chain for the studio is my tape core by NUX. It is another very cool pedal. It has a ton of versatility in it. However, I use it quite simply in the tape echo mode with a slap back type thing. And I use this a lot just for, like, you know, kind of sweetening up leads. All right, I'll turn it off. Turn it back on. And I find that that just, you know, gives a little bit of depth, a little bit more, you know, nice wet repeat on my lead work, you know, especially when you use it along with the Carcosa or something like that. You can really get some thick, cool, very nice tones, especially when you're on the neck pickup. All right, well, like I said, I just wanted to go through my pedal board, do a brief tour. I know I'm always talking about this stuff and never really, you know, like showing what I actually use. This is my setup. There's been pictures up. I'll throw up a picture of the whole board again here at the end. And basically, you know, how many pedals do I have here? I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 pedals total. Is that right? No, I have 8. Okay, I've got 8 on that board, and then, okay, I've got 12, 13 pedals total if you count the foot switch. And I do count the foot switch because, you know, those are colors that I can get from the amp. I can turn the reverb on and off, and I also have my channel switching. So anyway, you know, volume pedal, tuner, compressor, boost, then my main distortion pedal, then slash overdrive, and then I've got a fuzz, and then the modulation section, and then the time section. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you've watched to this point, please like and subscribe. You can leave, you know, descriptions of your pedal board setup down below. Be really cool to see what other people are using, see if any of these pedals have made it onto your board, and just any thoughts that you have. All right, you take care, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time.